Hi folks, welcome to a very special edition of Diplomacy Academy. On Memorial Day weekend, David Hood held a virtual DixieCon, the first event of its kind at the scale at which was held. Over 80 players from all around the world participated in 2 games of diplomacy, one in the morning, one in the evening. Siobhan Nolen, Brandon Fogel, and I participated in a live stream commentary of those games. In these special editions of Diplomacy Academy, I'm packaging those games together so you don't have to sit through the whole 11 hours of our stream to follow one game. Instead, you can go through the commentary game by game. Some games weren't finished by the time we stopped recording in the morning, and I had to drop out before all the games were finished in the evening. So enjoy. Welcome to some very special guests who joined the broadcast, and as always, like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks. I'm Chris Martin, and I'll stab you soon.
This is 1B, Catawbas. We've got Jamal Blackerly in Austria, Ben Durfee in England, Randy Lawrence-Hurt, who is well known to the hobby in France, and the big hitter of the tournament here, Andrew Goff, who has won how many world championships?
Three.
Including the last one held in North America, is that right?
Mm-hmm. That is correct.
All right, and so he is in Germany, Kirk Vaughn in Italy, Maxim Popov in Russia, and Nate Ellis in Turkey. All right, Siobhan, start us off here. What do you see?
What jumps out at me right away is that there's no balance in Galicia. Italy tried to go to Trieste, so really curious to see what's going on over there in the east. And I did have a little bit of intel about the French move to Burgundy. That was a dirty, dirty lie on Randy's part to Andrew. They agreed on a DMZ, and Randy just took it.
So we'll definitely come back and pay some attention to this game. Randy is well known to us, as is Andrew Goff, and they're both very good players. Andrew's precedes him.
Mm-hmm. And I just spotted that Italy went to Tyrrhenian Sea instead of Ionian.
Yep, that is worth pointing out. What do you think that signifies?
I very much dislike that move. He has made it impossible to convoy the army to Tunis. So he has to take Tunis with the fleet if he wants it. He didn't get Trieste if he thought he was going to. I don't know Kirk at all, but I think it's gonna give him problems with France. I don't think Randy's gonna like that.
Chris, any further thoughts here?
Sorry, I had to push some games. No, that looks that's pretty standard. The Italian one is the weird one there, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it looks like a gift to Turkey because it takes away the standard Lepanto.
Yeah.
But beyond that, if he goes to Tunis, it's largely equivalent to moving to Ionian with without a convoy. All right, so this is 1B, Catawbas. We've got Andrew Goff, world champion extraordinaire in Germany, and Randy Lawrence-Hurt, who is a well-known and strong hobby player in France, from Boston, right? He's one of the organizers of the Boston crew.
That's correct.
All right, so a quick reset here. We had Italy open into the Tyrrhenian Sea, and that was the most remarkable thing here. The DMZ in Galicia also remarkable. So here's what happened in fall of 1901.
Oh, wow, the Albania to Ionian.
Oh yes.
Fact.
Wow. Tanya, what does that say to you?
Me, I don't think I've ever seen that move before. So this is exciting. I don't know why you would want to maybe do that right off the bat instead of just taking Greece, but I guess it makes for an interesting opening.
Yeah, Siobhan, what do you think?
I like it.
For Austria to pass up a build, but Ionian is usually worth at least a dot. You like it?
I like it. I don't think I've ever seen it. I mean, he's got a friend in Turkey. So
yeah, let's point out he also supported Turkey into Romania here, bouncing with Russia and preventing Russia from getting a build. from up here.
Yeah.
Don't be distracted, by the way, by Andrew Goff's mind melding Denmark to Syria move.
So that's classic Andrew Goff.
Yeah. So let's see. We got Chris back. So Chris, what do you think about Albania and Ionian here?
So the Blue Water Lepanto is how this is sometimes phrased, although in that you're usually not doing stuff you're doing with Turkey here. Setting up to have Italy build a fleet Naples, dislodge you from Ionian, take the aggressive retreat forward into Aegean or Eastern Med, whichever one is available. But usually you also pick up Greece, with another army, or it's got possibilities here. It's this is one of those cases where you're really trying to get Russia and Turkey to pick a fight, and you're like, oh, you're going to open to the Tyrrhenian Sea? I guess I'll go to the Ionian. See what happens.
Yeah, like Italy in that other game, this is a case where Austria is helping other people more than himself. It's potentially cagey in that it may, it may create opportunities for him in the future, but also creates vulnerabilities. What about Andrew Goff's play here in the north? Tanya, what do you make of Goff's moves? Does anything stand out to you here?
Well, he lets Russia into Sweden, which I think is probably the right move, given what happened in the south. And then
why do you think that?
Does England manage to put that? No. Okay, so they bounced in Bell, right? There's no army in Bell.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Red Army means there were red arrows in the back.
But Tanya, say a bit more about why you think letting Russia into Sweden is the right thing to do here.
Well, I think they'll probably need to, stay in the game to put some balance. If it is an, AT, I would want Russia to not really fall to Turkey that fast. I don't remember what the spring moves were, but I'm generally the kind of Germany that gives Sweden to Russia anyway. So, you don't want an angry fleet in the Baltic. There's a lot of benefits to that, especially if you don't know if it's going to be an EF attacking you.
Got it. And then also Goff leaving Munich open and getting away with it.
Yeah.
So we've talked about this a bunch on our live streams. This is something that good players often do. And good players know that good players often do this. So a good player in France can sometimes take advantage of that. Randy Lawrence-Hurt did not do that. So let's see.
I don't think he's going to piss off Goff so fast. That's also a factor.
Well, the move to Burgundy was apparently a bald-faced lie to Goff, so
right.
that irritated him in the first place.
What's the expression? If you come at the king, you best not miss.
Exactly.
No, Randy clearly didn't think he had a fatal opportunity there. So builds. We've got a fleet army, pretty standard for Germany. France does not build in Paris. Puts the army in Marseille. I see some head shaking from Chris Martin. Tell us about that.
What are you going to do from Marseille that you want to do that you weren't going to do from Paris?
Piedmont.
Yeah. Is it time to move on Italy?
Maybe it's a Western triple of some sort.
The fleets in Brest and London say to me.
Yeah.
I mean, not impossible, but like from here, very low percentage on England doing anything but supporting themselves for the channel. And now you got to fight. And if you think that's going to happen, then you probably want to be in Picardy to influence Belgium. Might be that Marseille just supports Burgundy here. And you're like, all right, Mr. Goff, you take Belgium.
Yeah. And Spain hikes its way back. And
yeah, so I don't want to spend too much time on this. We should move on. But I am curious to know. So Tanya, you've played on boards with really highly esteemed players before, right? And you, like me, are fairly new to this. Can you talk a little bit about what your strategy would be if you were placed next to a hobby legend, someone who's won multiple world championships?
Yeah, Goff is pretty intimidating to play with. I'm generally not going to be the one to piss him off first. If I can get England on my side, and I know England for sure would be on my side, then I would be tempted. But, you know, I would play a slower game, I think, for sure.
So, which may be what Randy is defaulting to after an aggressive opening that looked like it wasn't going to pan out. Let's move ahead here. Here's what happened in spring of '02, and we have the German supporting himself to Burgundy without success, but supporting the English army into Belgium, which does make it. A self-bounce in Baltic.
I still don't think that Germany wants Russia to be, you know, super weak at this point. So I think that makes sense.
Okay, so self-bounce in Baltic, that feels very like an Andrew Goff move to me. Like, hey, I'm not doing anything, just going to keep you out, keep you honest.
Mm-hmm.
Supported the English army to Belgium.
Does that seem productive or counterproductive to you, Siobhan?
I think it's smart. We have talked a lot about this, and the English armies don't always want to be in Belgium. I think it helps Goff. He doesn't need the dot yet. It doesn't help the English position. So now he's got the choice of using North to support Belgium to hold in the fall, or supporting himself to the Channel to bounce Randy. I don't think this is good for the English player at all.
It doesn't.
Also,
go ahead, Tanya.
Oh, sorry. Just, Chris, you were right about the forward retreat into the Aegean.
Yeah, they did call that.
Well, one thing we didn't talk about here was the fact that Turkey built an army in right.
Ooh, yeah, they did, didn't they?
So,
which makes that retreat kind of nonsensical, right? You just move. You know, no point in like the theater at this juncture. You just go.
No, they want to be cute about it.
But I mean, yeah, passing up an open dot to retreat to Aegean.
Strong alliance play.
All right, so let's. Why don't we push ahead here to fall and see how this works out?
Turkey's like, oh wait.
So Siobhan said, "I don't like how this looks for England," and it didn't take long for that Belgian army to die, did it?
Yeah, it's Belgium.
I'm not seeing the update.
What's that, Chris?
There it is. Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, I wasn't seeing the update. Yeah, go figure.
Belgium is where English armies go to die. We've said it many times. It's on some of your bingo cards.
I have a question.
Sure.
Italy moved to Piedmont and then held. Like, what could be the benefit of doing that at this stage?
Tanya, do you remember when you said, what would that army in Marseille do that an army in Paris wouldn't do? You said it would move to Piedmont. So Italy's like, yeah, no.
I'm just going to be here.
And then from there, right, I'm not leaving. You don't. And Naples, as you'll see, goes to the Tyrrhenian Sea here.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a great Italian start. But, wow, Austria, great play for Austria here, picking up Romania and Bulgaria. He doesn't. No, he does not pick up
either.
Either one of them. Oh, that's terrible. He forced Russia and Turkey to work together. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my
This
God.
is what happens when you get too creative with your moves.
Yeah. Cute.
Yeah, and also they managed not to even get Italy Greece here, where they easily could have. I mean, they had 3 against 1. So
Andrew and Randy in France and Germany, I think, are just going to roll with this.
Yeah, you have to wonder if they.
I very much.
You say you have to wonder, Chris. We still got a delay on you. I wonder if you need to restart your browser or even your computer, because it's like a 2 or 3 second delay.
That face.
Yeah. Anyway.
Actually, we started talking. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll try again. That's maybe I just have that.
What I wonder with
throw the link.
Go ahead, Chris.
I got it.
All right.
I'm going to jump out and jump back in.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is really hilarious with the delay. All right, I'm going to say this. What I wonder with France and Germany here, Randy and Andrew, is more signaled actually a condition for that Andrew placed on Randy as sort of a show of fealty, because they have negotiations during the build phase.
During build, yeah.
But then I also wonder if the two of them have looked at this board and said, if we work together, then we'll roll it over. Randy's smart enough to recognize that that's probably true, and Andrew is convincing enough to make a good case for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Also, Warsaw, why not just move to Gal?
No reason, really. Right.
Yeah, that's a bad hold.
All right, let's push ahead another year here. I think we need to go a little further with one game. So we get a fleet build here. Clearly, France is fully on board with the FG and an army build for Liverpool, which is interesting. Here are the spring moves.
North Atlantic and Irish. Love it, Randy.
But the Mid-Atlantic is interesting. Given the move to Tyrrhenian Sea, it's not so bad.
No.
Yeah. That was needed. South bounce in Burgundy as Burgundy pulls back to Gascony. Fine. Yeah, no, that's beautiful. What ridiculous support is Holland making?
That's a good question. I don't have the ability to show.
Something.
Probably Norway to Ankh. I don't know, or
something like that. It's
something like that, yeah.
Andrew Goff, even in face-to-face, likes writing those kinds of orders. So
yeah.
Moscow pulls up to St. Pete. Someone finally takes Romania.
And
in the spring.
Yeah, may not be able to hold it. Chris,
So you've got
talk about Andrew's play here for a second. He has a lot of options now in the fall here. He could stick with the alliance with France. He could even do a turnabout here. What would you expect here in the fall?
Call on someone, Brandon.
That was for you.
That was for you.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I don't see him one-dotting Randy here. Just not enough room to grow in there. He would just pull one of those northern fleets, and then you'd have to fight through 3 French armies. I expect him to slow play this, right? Very patiently. He's encouraged Russia to come north and take Norway. Expect that to happen. Mm-hmm. France set up to convoy to Clyde, but now really can't because Italy has wisely said, let's slow that down. So I expect Andrew to just be patient this turn and work the diplomacy.
Tanya, you were going to say something.
Oh, I was just going to say the pretty clear RT forming now with Italy going west probably means we see Austria falling quite soon.
You think RT
and then,
the upper hand here over Austria and Italy?
I feel like the 3 Turkish armies aren't that great to do anything quite yet. But other than that, like, if Italy is going to focus on France, I don't see why they shouldn't be able to. Though the move to Moscow means that Russia's going to start also attacking or supporting England in the north.
Is there? Yeah, and it looks like Norway should be a done deal. You'd expect Goff to hit north here again. Siobhan, you should all laugh at this question, but I feel like it has to be asked because for most normal humans, it should be asked in this question. Is there a risk of Germany, of Andrew Goff outsmarting himself?
Outsmarting himself?
By helping everyone around him, not to his own benefit.
No, I've seen this from Andrew Goff a number of times, and he will slow play this. Randy's going to get a lot of the initial winnings. Randy, I see you in the comments. Don't give me any spoilers. I think Goff eventually gets the jump on Randy and gets all the spoils of this.
All right, let's keep going then. Here's what happens in the fall. Andrew Goff really wants to go to Albania. Belgium wants to go to Venice. Yeah, so Randy had Liverpool guaranteed, so a stab would have been especially dumb at that point on Andrew's part. But it should be pointed out that Goff does not hit North here. North holding Norway would have worked. So this is potentially a little mini stab here.
Just everything moves to Albania.
Yeah. And Turkey loses Bulgaria. It goes to Serbia. So a lot of activity here. A lot of centers changing hands.
I mean, what time is it in Australia right now? Maybe he's just going crazy in the middle of the night.
I love the confidence of these moves.
So wow.
Which one? You mean Goff's moves of not?
Yeah.
Is he? Why? Is he basically saying I don't even need these pieces?
Who needs orders?
Yes.
Here's
Oh
three.
my God. He
And
even got Randy in on it with the move to Venice.
What we can't see actually is whether Romania and Munich also did this.
I would presume they did, but I want to get.
I'm guessing that they probably did, yeah.
Yeah. So all 5 of his units would have had nonsense players. Good for you, Andrew Goff.
Oh my God.
Well, and this is one of the things. I actually was on Ambi and Kaner's podcast last night, and I talked about actually Andrew Goff very much specifically by name as a player who does this patient, slow, not super worried about tempo, not super worried about what his dot count is right now. As long as his position is solid, he wants to move the rest of the board where he wants it and make that happen. Mm-hmm. And if that happens and it all works, then he's very happy to play a slow game.
And look at that. No one is attacking him. Like, he's got no enemies on this board.
I mean, we've got Norway to Skag, which is just give up on Norway because you think you're going to lose it, and because Andrew Goff made a supported attack on North last turn. Fine, but if that's the biggest problem that Germany has at this point in the game.
Let's keep going here. England. England goes full Janissary here.
Randy, take all my dots.
Could this be a fly in the ointment of Andrew's master plan? And we have army builds rather than a fleet build in the north for Russia.
This
figure Russia to be worried about Austria, with that army in Moscow at least.
Yeah.
And all right, let's move a little faster here. So here are the spring orders for this one. We have a stab.
Yeah.
Well, potentially, I suppose this was arranged.
That could very easily be a, hey, Randy, you're growing very quickly. You need to throw me something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and combined with the move from Munich to Tyrolia rather than a follow-up to Burgundy, that's a good.
Yeah.
And maybe expect a convoy across an army to go to the island from here.
To London.
With the North Sea only being able to cover Eddie or London.
Mm-hmm.
Clyde go to Eddie. Maybe, English Channel convoys, maybe a German army to London. Who knows?
Oh, yeah.
Was it right out in the fall?
That would be delightful. And let's also.
I do think we're maybe getting a little ahead on this game compared to some others.
Mm-hmm.
I would just say though, the France move to Burgundy means like there's not total trust in that alliance.
Yeah. But does anyone ever really totally trust Andrew Goff?
And then we have a convoy into Smyrna.
The Bulgaria Smyrna, there's a lot happening in the east too, and I don't want to ignore it, but I think Chris is right. There's a number of games that we haven't looked at since spring of 2001.
Yeah, let's finish the year here. Let's go in whole year chunks, and then we'll move on to another game. Okay, so
this one's in 19.
Yeah, this one's in 1908 already. So here's so we do have the convoy to London as predicted.
He takes Eddie and London, but loses Belgium, but planned in this case. It very much looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Piedmont.
And let's point out Andrew Goff
and Tyrolia supports Marseille.
Into Piedmont, yeah. Sweden, Andrew Goff has gotten Russia to tap Skagerrak for him, which guarantees that Denmark is safe. What were we going to say, Chris?
Yeah, I was going to say that it's just a solid, rock solid FG at this point. Marseille gets cleared for the build, and even though Germany isn't putting a unit down, he's in great shape. He's in Tyrolia.
He is putting
looks like
yeah, he gets a build.
Belgium.
Germany. Oh, because he picks up. Yeah, fair point. Yeah, so that's just solid.
Yeah,
solid. I don't like it if I'm Russia. If I'm Russia, the time for England supporting me to Denmark was right now.
Yeah.
Or England, convoys Norway to Denmark with support. That would work too. Because you got to know that. I mean, maybe not. I mean, if you're Maxim, maybe you think that you still got Austrian problems.
So, Tanya, you predicted that this setup was not good for Austria, and it seems you were onto something. Austria gets booted out of Galicia, does not pick up Romania, thanks to coordination between Russia and Turkey. Sure looks like Italy has the better of this particular situation, but has the worst of this particular situation.
There is an Austrian army in Smyrna right now, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Austria picks up Smyrna.
Yeah, so it's not.
But loses Bulgaria. So
yeah.
He's even with the rebuild. So.
Right.
Yeah, he'll rebuild in Vienna.
Yep. But he also has the German army to worry about. So. All right.
But Turkey goes to 2, so that's that mission has been accomplished, and you just got to work real hard on Russia now and say, hey, look, I disbanded Galicia. Let's worry about Germany and France, who are crushing this board.
Yeah.
So real quick, Tanya, before we let you go, I'm going to ask you this question. Here are the builds. Who would you want to be on this board? If you had to pick any, who has the best position, the best future prospects from your perspective?
I want to say France. I want to say there's a lot of potential stability in that position. But I'm sure that Goff being in Germany, he's going to make something really great out of that position too.
So for anybody except Goff in Germany, you'd want to be France, but
I'm not entirely sure. I think so. I think France probably has, like, they might be slowed down in the med quite a bit right now, but I would lean towards France right now.
Okay. Hey, and you're playing later today in round 2, is that right?
I am, yeah. I big regrets that I didn't play in this round, but I guess I get to watch your beautiful commentary now instead.
It's been a pleasure having you on. Thanks so much.
All right, thanks for having me.
Thank you, Tanya.
Good luck tonight. We'll look forward to seeing how you do.
Thanks. Don't be too critical.
Just
right. Kidding. Be very critical. I'll watch it later.
We'll try not to bring up what. So, other than that, have a great
Bye.
one.
Oh, we are. Yeah.
Oh, there it is. All right.
Okay. So no spoilers beyond this, please. But I'd like to talk about spring of 01 when apparently you told Andrew Goff that you were not going to go to Burgundy.
Oh, man. I hate to give the peek behind the curtain, but that's not true. I did tell him I was going to Burgundy. And he just thought it would be fun. And I was this close to just be like, you know what? Everyone's buying into it. It's become like a hashtag. This is fun. I'm going to let it ride. But no, I did tell him I was going to Burgundy. And quite frankly, he and I were on the same page for a very long time.
Yeah, from what we've seen, it seemed like y'all, even if that had been a lie, like y'all figured it out really quickly. So, yeah.
And I mean, I didn't even support myself. He could have bounced me.
Yeah, very easily. So, how do you like playing with someone like Andrew Goff as your neighbor?
Well, I've only actually done it a few times, and I have come to like it more and more, quite frankly. The quality of play on this board was really good, but I didn't know basically any of the other players, so having someone I did know was both interesting from a diplomatic sense, and I kind of enjoyed it as well. It just made, I don't know, I like to play diplomacy at least partly because I like playing with friends and people I know. So it was nice to meet people, but also have someone there. And then in terms of the actual play itself, Goffy it was useful both from a diplomatic standpoint to be able to go to other people and say, hey, don't pay attention to me, pay attention to Goffy. He's the guy you got to worry about. But also know that from my perspective, there was at least one player on the board that I could have like a 2-sentence conversation with him, and he and I would understand each other and all the implications, and I don't have to spend more time than I have to talking with him. I can use that time for other people.
Yeah. Well, because, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, you didn't know any of the other 5 players before this game started?
I don't recall that I did.
Okay, so they would have had to prove to you their competence, where with Andrew Goff, it was just understood for you.
Exactly. So, yeah. And I made sure that it was understood to everyone else just in case anyone didn't know.
Well, it's the big bad Andrew Goff. Like, exactly. Point everyone that way.
I believe the first thing I put in the group chat was, oh boy, we get to be on the board with 3-time world champion Andrew Goff.
Yep, that sounds about right. Well, I woke up to a text from you that was like, yeah. Okay. Let's see. Let's jump through this a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, I think we were in 1903 when we left off. Brandon, go ahead and push us to 1904.
Yeah, I remember this. Oh, yeah, we saw this.
Yeah, we saw that. That's the.
Yeah, but you got to talk about it.
We did talk about it. Goffy's, I'm so good, I don't even need to write orders.
That became a little bit of a recurring joke. He was supposed to tell me when he did that so that I could do it as well, but he decided
to go to Venice.
Did he ordered all 5 of his units to Albania, right?
He did.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that? Like, just in the sense that somebody was telling the entire board that he didn't need any units that turn.
I was a little hurt because he was supposed to tell me when he was going to do it so I could do it too. So a little like, oh, Goffy's so good, he doesn't even he's just going to do it by himself. He's not even going to warn me when he does it. But also, I'm fine with it. I mean, I've done stuff like that before in the past too. It's a little, it's a little showboaty, but it's fun too. Friendly reminder that this is a game we're playing. Let's have some fun with it.
And also that some of us are better at it than others.
I don't think Goffy needs to prove that to anybody anymore.
Oh yeah, it's not about proof. It's more about the announcement. All right, so so this is where, let's see, we left things in so Randy, you'll stick with us while we go through the rest of the game. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, and let's we'll relieve the Siobhan's empty chair until she comes back. All right, so this is where things stood in winter of 1904. You and Germany seem like you got a good thing going. There was some question here actually about whose position we liked better. And what did you think? Did you like your position here better than Germany? Was it the same, or you worried that you were being set up in some way?
I mean, when you're playing next to a player like Goffy, you always worry. There's always in the back of your mind the thought, am I being set up? And you have to look a little bit harder at your position than maybe you would anyone else. But I don't, until the very end of the game, which we'll get to in a bit, I was never really worried that he was going to stab me. When we got to this position, it felt very balanced in terms of power and also balanced in terms of anything he does to me, I'll see coming from a mile away. And so long as I don't do anything stupid, don't move myself out of position too much, I'll be able to make it not worth his trouble. It's easier for him to go other places.
All right. So you've given us a little hint that something else might be coming. Oops. Jumped ahead. All right. So
do you convoy London back home right now as a safety? And of course you do. That's a great move. No reason to leave it over there. Agreed on balance in the north?
Yep. Agreed upon.
I would have been super tempted to run in on him here, 8-5. But I guess with Italy aggressively in the med, you got other fish you had to fry.
And you alluded to an issue that had been there for several years, that Italy and I could never get on the same page. He and I talked a little bit early in 1901 and just at the start of 1902 maybe. But he moved to Piedmont early on, and then he moved to Tyrrhenian, and he moved to Lionian earlier, and he wasn't responding to my messages. He said because he didn't see a way to talk me without either lying or making me angry, which I understand. But as I told him, his silence spoke just as loudly as if he had been talking to me. So I probably would have been tempted to run in on Goffi at this point, except that not only did I not know what the Italian was thinking, but based upon his units and what he had done previously, I had every reason to think that he wasn't going to give me the breathing room.
Yeah.
All right. So then in the east, we have Turkey sort of letting himself be taken. And Russia's rearrangement over here is kind of interesting. He gets the fleet in position to do some damage, but he's got bigger problems, bigger fish to fry here.
Yeah, and honestly, I didn't talk with Russia as much as I should have until right around now, frankly. I wasn't really aware that he was doing that shuffle up north, and if I had been aware of it, I might have been nervous because he builds a fleet in the north coast, and suddenly my position looks a lot worse if he and Germany decided to turn on me.
One thing to note here is that the Russian player, Maxim, is 16 and is just starting to play diplomacy. So what a board to be on, what a position to be in here.
Oh, yeah.
He is, yeah. Fantastic. Well done. Well done so far, at least.
He played very well this game.
So were you, Randy, real quick, your sort of longer term strategy at this point, were you just thinking FG plus one of the ones in the east until the end here?
Essentially, yeah. At this point, my negotiation with Goffi was, all right, so we're not going to stab each other unless something great comes up. So we'll just be two, and then either Russia or, for a while, we were batting around Austria. It could be the third.
So you weren't trying to look for a way to sort of, manipulate the board into trying to create a solo opportunity?
I'm not saying that I wasn't looking for it, but I certainly never saw an opportunity. In order to run in on Goffi, as I mentioned earlier, I would need a lot of leeway from Italy. Italy just wasn't really responding to my overtures, and the one conversation we did have, we had a conversation actually right before spring here, or maybe it was fall, I'm forgetting, but right around this time, Italy and I have a conversation where we kind of half-heartedly tried to de-escalate the Med, but we couldn't come to any sort of a real agreement there. So at this point, I was assuming unless something strange happens in the East, I'm probably going to be part of a three-way.
Yeah, you really need Russia to be able to roll in on Germany here, and then that lets you make the move on the North Sea and Scandinavia, pick up the lowlands, and go on.
Exactly. And whenever I did talk to Russia, he was much more interested in getting the relatively easy dots out of Turkey and Austria, and I don't blame him for that. So.
All right, let's move forward here. So yeah, Russia fully commits to the south here, and it pays off with an Italian dot out of nowhere, and a Turkish dot.
Yeah.
For a 16-year-old, I think this is must have been a pretty satisfying turn, I have to say.
Yeah.
You get everyone to help you, and you get dots off of them at the same time. Well done.
Yeah, after this turn, it became pretty clear that unless something weird happened, Russia was going to be the third here, because he grabbed hold of Turkey and he just had a dominant position in the east.
And with your fleets now fully committed south, your opportunity against Andrew really vanishes.
Yep.
So then, all right. I suspect this. We're now curious to see what thing of interest might happen, because right now it looks very straightforward.
No, it's just mopping up from here, right?
Quite frankly, it was just mopping up. I mean, there was, and like I said, we can kind of move quickly towards the end because I think y'all can predict more or less what happened here. There was some worry in the back of my mind that Russia might try for a solo. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some worry in the back of Russia's mind. But throughout the last several years here, the defining factor was if either Russia or I wanted a solo, we'd have to stab Goffi, and Goffi was big enough and in a perfect position to throw to whoever didn't stab him. So,
yeah, it seems like a really well-balanced three-way alliance in terms of strategic function. So, and then, yeah, that's sort of a question here. I think whether Austria or Italy could somehow make themselves annoying enough to make it to the draw, but I think they would have needed to make things look more imbalanced than it looks like they did. Now I'm curious, Randy, if you ever get another dot.
Tunis.
And that's fair. Italy did a great job defending.
There we go.
Up until right here.
Yeah, probably not over.
Yeah, well, you had it guaranteed.
I had it guaranteed. I was able to blow up his fleet in Leon in the spring, and that was what broke his defenses. But for a good year and a half there, he played really excellent defense.
This is an interesting choice here.
Yeah.
Mid-Atlantic to English Channel rather than West. Tell us about
that. Goffy and I are both paranoid style in a lot of ways, and I am probably more so than him. That was straight up just in case something weird happens, in case Russia builds in the north, or in case Goffy puts down another fleet. I want to be in the channel.
But now you have a little bit of a problem with Tyrrhenian Sea in Spain, but it's nothing you can't deal with.
Except, getting Tunis allowed me to, as you're about to see, build a fleet in Bray, and then it was game over at that point. But there was a lot of talk in the year prior to this, in 1906. There was a lot of talk about just doing a three-way draw then. Italy and Austria were more or less on board for surrendering. And at first, Russia didn't want to call it then because he wanted to get more centers.
Yeah.
And after a couple more centers, I was the one who didn't want to end it because I wanted to get more senators.
DixieCon scoring, baby.
And it should be pointed out down here that maybe it shouldn't be a surprise to us that Germany ends up with the bulk of the centers down here, despite Russia being there first and seemingly having better position.
And that I can't say for certain, but I suspect was a result of diplomacy between Goff and Russia. And Goff just saying, "Look, we're fine with it. You ending it. We're fine with ending it. In a three-way with us having all the centers. But if you don't let me get these centers while you take Turkish dots, then you're going to have a problem."
Oh, I see. So Goff was willing to be a smaller partner, just not that much smaller.
Right. That was both Goff and I were in that position. At this point, Russia was ahead of us and had better position to get more dots than us. So our basic selling was, that's fine, but you're not going to get much ahead of us.
So 11, it's 11-8-8, but then let's see here after this year.
12-10-9. Yeah, that's
9. And then looks like you guys you go another year here.
Italy,
popping up at this point.
right there. Italy's like, yeah, fine. You guys win.
Yeah.
And so this is an order for Galicia to convoy a unit somewhere.
Things got weird at the end there. We were just submitting the orders we had to. We went through the last 2 years in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then there's that.
All right. Okay.
What award does that get?
That's hilarious.
This should be like
It deserves
logo. This should be DixieCon's new logo, I think.
Yeah, so I have an airdrop screenshot of that. That's too good not to.
That is beautiful.
That was relatively uncoordinated too. I think we all knew we were going to do it, but we didn't specifically say we were going to.
Oh my god.
Greece actually moved to Albania. That's the one interloper. Well, Greece got in.
The one who
right?
ruined it.
Greece actually gets in. Wow.
So then this is the you got one more turn.
Oh yeah, we meant to end it on the winter, but I think I clicked submitted my orders before I moved to the draw, so I think it's my fault that we technically went into spring.
All right.
Okay.
So I'll be honest, a little disappointing. There was no funny business. You guys ended 12-11-11. Congrats to Russia, a 16-year-old player who got a bigger score than three-time world champion Andrew Goff and a very accomplished and solid player in Randy Lawrence-Hurt. So Randy, how do you feel about this game overall?
I'm good with it. I mean, brand new dynamic. I wasn't sure how the online play was going to go. I haven't actually played competitive diplomacy in quite some time. Haven't been last year. I think it's been a year. I mean, technically Carnage, but I wouldn't call my performance there particularly competitive. So it's been a while since I played good diplomacy. So it was good. It fit with my style too. I mean, the lack of shenanigans is probably at least partly my fault. I'm not a shenanigan player. And Goffy was playing at 3 and 4 a.m. in the morning, so I don't think he had any energy for shenanigans. So I'm satisfied with the result, and we'll see what happens in the second round. But I think a 3-way draw with 11 centers is not a bad way to go into the second round.
Yeah, we don't know if there are going to be any solos in the other games. It looks like a bunch of them are still going on. So we'll have a look at them. Chris, I saw a smirk come over your face there at the thought that it might be too late for shenanigans for Andrew Goff.
No, I mean, Andrew Goff and shenanigans, they're concomitant events. It's always shenanigans. Sometimes they're the beneficial shenanigans, and sometimes they're the baneful shenanigans.
Randy, thank you so much for joining us, man.
Hey, thanks for having me. And thanks you guys for doing this. This has been very entertaining, a great addition to the tournament.
Yeah, it's fun for us. And we'll be on again later this evening, so we'll be following you. And best of luck with the tournament.
Thank you very much. Have a good one, y'all.
All right, man.
See ya.